and welcome to a very special Zoom edition of 409 Sports X's and O's. I'm Ash Leland. Over in the other box,
It's me, Mike Canizales. It feels great to be back together again, Ash.
The funny part is we literally live just a few blocks away from each other, but we're practicing social distancing. We're following the rules, and it's NFL schedule release, so I got the headset on. I got the hat. I'm looking like a coach right now. My wife has already made fun of me saying I look like a nerd, but we're going to just ignore that part.
No. Now, if you were a coach, Ashley, who would you be coaching right now?
I'd be coaching the Houston Texans because they need all the help they could get right now. It's not good.
I figured you'd find a way to bring back the Golden Gators.
Well, I mean, duh. I mean, their pennant's right over here next to me. I didn't want to move. I'm showing off the football helmets for now. But tonight, the reason we are joining you is because NFL schedules were released. We're going to start to the team closest to us. We're going to talk a lot about the Cowboys because we are now the official home of your Dallas Cowboys. But we're going to start off with the Texans because looking at their schedule, there's not a ton of excitement surrounded it because there's not a lot of big-time primetime games, but there is one. Week 1, Thursday night football. They get to go on the road and take on the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And how about a way to start the season, huh?
Patrick, my homeboy, Ashley Elam. The fact that the Chiefs are hosting this game, really isn't surprising at all since it is pretty much tradition. But, of course, this one's going to be even more intriguing because last year we all know what happened after the Chiefs rattled off 51 straight points. I know you weren't too happy. We should talk about it. No, we don't have to talk about it. It's okay.
Yeah, that one is scheduled for Thursday night, 7:20 kickoff. Where else? KJack, NBC, one of the networks of 12 News. So you're going to want to get there and watch that game. And then their next big-time ball game, one of these prime-time slots, is really a day game, but it's Thanksgiving when they play 11:30 at Detroit taking on the Lions. And we're going to let you know also, of course, the Cowboys play every Thanksgiving. So that means both Texas teams playing on Thanksgiving. And that's got some excitement because, hey, if I'm getting, my belly full with turkey, I want to be watching our teams.
Well, the thing of it is, you might be asleep by that point in time. Houston may have put you on snooze by then after all the moves your boy made. But, of course, my Dallas Cowboys always doing their thing. Here's the funny thing. I know that when look at the schedule prior to, of course, we all knew what was, going on. We just didn't know what the actual schedule was going to look like overall. I wasn't too thrilled about Houston. But then looking at it, I don't know about you, but up until the bye week, you got KC, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Green Bay. I only had them beating Pittsburgh and Jacksonville up until that bye. I legit had them going 2-5. However, the second half, they're going to do great. I do have them taking out Jacksonville, Cleveland, and of course New England's no longer the same anymore. They have no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. They're going to split in Indy. Chicago, even though it's going to be a tough environment over there, I think they'll get that. They'll easily win at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's still at least 2 or 3 years off before they start doing something.
What do you mean? Joe Burrow's not going to turn it around in year 1? Come on.
You know what? You know what? Some Bengals fans, they might actually think that there. But, yeah, T. Higgins, he might do some. A.J. Green, if he's able to stick around. But I think it's funny with the Bengals, though, off the topic there, is that they're finally starting to run their organization like a real organization, not a mom-and-pop shop.
Right. And also another game, there's some flex games this year that the NFL is trying out, and that includes the Texans road trip later on in the year, a Saturday or Sunday game in late December as they travel to the Colts. So that game hasn't even been decided yet. The NFL talked about leaving things open where they can move games and take advantage of some Saturday night primetime football, but there's no guarantee who's going to get those games right now. So there is a TBD on the schedule, but that one's going to be up at Indianapolis. So the Texans never play well up there, so it could be another rough road trip.
Yeah, no, it's more than likely, because you've been to that stadium, right?
I have not been to Indy. No, I have not. It looks like a barn to me.
It is. No, don't get me wrong. Like when you're actually inside and when you're watching a game, it's beautiful. I had a chance to catch a Notre Dame game there a few years ago, but it's just, I had a buddy of mine talk about how much he loved the stadium. I know. Wait till you get to Arlington, or at least even NRG Stadium. To me, I thought they were much better.
Right. Now, if you are watching this and you're joining us tonight, checking out the YouTube channel as we send this up later on, you might notice we freeze up every once in a while. There's a little glitchiness because we are on Zoom. We can't be together in the studio, obviously. That's not the 12 News studio. This is not behind me, the 12 News studio. So we're just trying to get it done while we can. The dog has been quiet so far. The kids are gone for now, so silence is working so far. And on that note, it's time.
It's funny you mentioned that because it's like with us, you have no idea when a kid's going to come out, either whether it's your kids or my kid.
Right.
But before we go, two things. One, my prediction for this year for Houston, I have them at 9-7. I want yours, right, but I also want to get
right on the nose is where I went with them, 9-7.
Of course, but I want to get
that's the Bill O'Brien way, just enough not to get fired.
That's right. But I want to get your opinion real quick about the offseason transactions. I know you and I at first, whenever we saw that David Johnson was going over, wow, this is going to be a killer offense.
Great.
And then news broke. Deandre Hopkins left. Supporting your boys. I know you're a big Texans fan, but what did you think about that?
I got just pumped when I saw, they were getting a solid running back, and I'm like, here we go. They might have finally made a good move. And then the rumor mill started happening, and they're like, Deandre Hopkins going to Arizona. And I just immediately got sick. I'm telling you, from when the Texans started playing, my favorite player, seeing him in person was Andre Johnson. He had that wow factor. That is a big-time NFL player. From his rookie season on, when he was in that practice bubble, you were like, this guy is something special. The first guy that I've seen to do that for the Texans since then, going to cover training camp, was DeAndre Hopkins. And he quickly became my favorite player. And it's just another situation where, you're hearing rumblings that him and Bill O'Brien didn't get along. Bill O'Brien didn't get along with Jadeveon Clowney either. And I wasn't a big Clowney guy, but this is professional sports. And if you're going to be shipping off great players like this, it doesn't feel professional. He's a college-style coach. He likes that full-time control. He wants to control everything, obviously, since he's the GM and the head coach. But you can't run a pro franchise like that and win.
No, you can't. I mean, off the top of my head, Jimmy Johnson coming up from Miami, I thought he did very well. Pete Carroll comes immediately to mind, what he did, because he could have easily brought, what happened at USC, brought that college mentality. But even then, I even thought at USC, he pretty much kind of ran it like a professional sports team as well, too. But no, I think you hit that right on the head there. And, I'm not the biggest fan of the Texans, but I'm no dummy, and I know that DeAndre Hopkins is, at least, to me, he's the number one receiver, better than Julio Jones, because the guy just doesn't miss. He doesn't drop anything.
All right, now we're going to move on to your Dallas Cowboys, and we're going to get into the teeth of their schedule, but we're going to bring up the preseason games because KJAC, right here, our NBC on 12 News, is the home of all the preseason action. And right now, there's only one date set for a preseason game, and that's on August 6th. We already knew about that one. That's the Hall of Fame game up in Canton, Ohio, where we were hoping to go, but thanks, coronavirus. Anyway, they'll be taking
that would have been so much fun.
Oh, unbelievable. Jimmy Johnson getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, so hopefully we'll catch up with Jimmy another time. That one, of course, all the preseason games will be on KJAC. Week 2 of the preseason, they're going to take on the Chargers on the road in that new stadium out there. Then they got the Ravens at home, the Chiefs at home, and then they wrap up with the preseason with the Governor's Cup against the Texans over in Houston. Once again, every single one of those games will be on KJAC. We will tell you some dates, but they don't have the dates yet, and there's a lot still up in the air with the COVID-19 pandemic where not all these dates for the preseason, because they can wipe these games out if they need to. These are not etched in stone yet.
And I don't think that any athlete or coach will mind if any of those games, even for a fan. I think the only thing that as a Cowboy fan they maybe like to see is just to see how Dalton would do with the first team, because probably week 3 or 4 he'll get a few reps in with the first team. Other than that, we can all care less when it comes to the preseason. Let it go.
Now your Cowboys, as usual, America's team.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do the air, because they are still America's team no matter what.
A whole story about that. NFL Films tried to give it to the Steelers. They didn't want it. We're not going to get into that right now. But
no, we won't. We'll say that for another time.
but they got 6 games in those kind of prime time slots. Starting off week 1. Sunday Night Football against not the Giants. It's not the Giants for once. Thank God, because I don't care if you're a Cowboy fan, not a Cowboy fan. I'm getting tired of seeing the Giants and the Cowboys starting off the season on a Sunday Night Football game.
No, you're absolutely right there, because here's the thing. The Giants and Cowboys, they always produce, right? We know they're going to pull a big number. But, those Eli, Manning, and Romo years, I mean, those were some great years. Time has obviously passed. Don't get me wrong. The Cowboys, they are locked and loaded for a Super Bowl run. New York, not so much. I even know today when we were talking, I was kind of thinking, of course, I did hear the rumblings, a week or two ago that, yes,
Right.
it could open up in L.A. Of course, Jerry Jones would love to do that. But it's still kind of like, as a fan, in the back of my mind, like, I won't be shocked if it's New York, but thank God that they're actually going to be over there, open up a new stadium, SoFi Stadium, and what better way for the Rams to bring over the Cowboys? Now, the funny thing is that you're probably going to see more Cowboys fans than Rams fans.
True. Yeah, I buried the lead there. I got so excited about them not playing the Giants. Yes, they are traveling to L.A. SoFi Stadium. That would be their second trip to SoFi, because they're going to play the Chargers in preseason if that one is played, and then they're going to open up the season 7:20 kickoff Sunday Night Football on KJAC. So you're riding with us, the official station of the Cowboys, all the way through preseason and into week 1 against the LA Rams. So, I mean, I know we're excited about that. I know our sales department's excited about that. It's all about the Cowboys this year, right?
The funny thing is that this is great, for me, right? Not so much for you in our
Man,
GM,
I'm going to have to sell this.
and even our news director. Because we have two of the top guys, Houston fans. The other top guy is a big New Orleans fan. Then there's little old me, right? The big Cowboys fan. So I was pretty pumped whenever we found out that we're going to have that in the show as well.
So we're going to fast forward now to week 6 is their next, big time game. Monday Night Football. They're taking on the Arizona Cardinals. D-Hop, that's right, and Kyler Murray, Larry Fitzgerald. These guys are traveling over there to take on the Cowboys. Week 6, 7:15 kickoff on ESPN for Monday Night Football. And usually the Cardinals, you don't think of as a Monday night team, but with them picking up D-Hop and you got a young quarterback, Kyler Murray, they're starting to get in those little primetime slots.
Here's the thing about Kyler Murray, what Dallas doesn't do well. They don't defend well against running quarterbacks. That's the. I mean, I have them winning this game only because offensively.
Don't you have them going undefeated? The last I saw, right? No.
No, actually, I have them. What do I have them as? I think I may have them at 10-6 right now. I mean, last I checked.
I think 10-6
yeah, 10
is very doable.
Yeah,
especially when Andy Dalton
takes
Dak's job. Mm-hmm.
At what point, hypothetically speaking, by Thanksgiving? No, because you know what? Here's the thing: if Tony Romo was still there and we had Andy Dalton backing up, I said we. I cannot believe I said we.
You're that guy. We.
I could easily see Andy Dalton, coming in, because week 14 it's at Cincinnati. What better way to come back, and you're starting for America's team there? But yeah, no, it's not going to happen. I know the Dak he's gonna eventually get the contract signed. It's gonna be a long-term deal. It's an insurance policy, people. But no, I mean, I have Arizona winning. I have Dallas beating Arizona there, just based on the fact Dallas should put up at least 35, 40 points against that defense.
Now, you have to wait, poor Cowboy fans, a whole 2 weeks until another primetime game, and you'll be taking on the Eagles on the road, 7:20 on KJAC, Sunday Night Football. It's Cowboys all the time on primetime. You know this.
Well, when you're pulling in the ratings, look, as a fan, I know all I can sit and say is, look, 5 Super Bowls. They're the most profitable team in sports. But I also have, look, these guys pull ratings. I love to say, hey, but look at the rating, look at the rating. That's all we have. As a fan, that is all we have. But, speaking of Philly, of course, they made rumblings. Jalen Hurts. I still don't understand that move. Second round, they're kind of going a Tatum Hill situation there, but it is what it is. Of course, Dallas really can't do that there because Andy Dalton really can't run for nothing. But for that particular matchups, I mean, look, they're going to split. I'm going to have them. Oh, you know what? I originally had them winning. Dallas will win at home. No, you know what? Dallas is they're going to win week 8 at Philly.
They'll win at Philly. They'll lose at home. Dallas is horrible at home.
They were 4-4 last season at home.
4-4 is like a celebration now.
It really is because they cannot win at home. The home field advantage
You know why?
is terrible.
I can tell you why. You want to know why?
Please.
They don't open the roof enough. God can't watch his football team with the roof closed. That's what y'all used to say about Texas Stadium. If you can't watch his team, guess what? He's ticked off and you're going to lose. That's what's happening.
What's funny is, we know about that quote, and when you're at the Dallas Pro Shop over there, they actually have a T-shirt that says that. I said that to somebody at one time. They thought I had made that up. They're like, "Oh my, I cannot believe you put that same stuff." Like, dude, they've been saying that.
It's a
like,
saying, yeah.
So God can watch his favorite team. Probably more than likely.
I just thought they ran out of money to fill up the hole in the old stadium, but I mean, whatever. So.
Oh man, that old stadium. We're crunched up like this. But I did get to
awful.
watch Emmitt Smith break the rushing record though, so at least I got and I got to see one of my very first Cowboys games. My favorite quarterback all time, Joe Montana. Of course,
I got to see Tony Romo
that year. So
throw his first pass with the Cowboys. Me and your brother were there actually, watching the Texans get destroyed. It was not fun for me, but I was up there in my Andre Johnson jersey, just taking it. So it was good times.
I can only imagine what that night was like with you and him.
Oh, good times. Oh, well, then we have to wait 4 whole weeks for the next primetime game, which is not really primetime. It's a Thanksgiving game. It's the Cowboys' traditional Thanksgiving game. As we said, the morning game will be the Texans traveling up to Detroit, and then you got the Cowboys hosting the Redskins. And I love seeing a rivalry game like that. It doesn't matter that the Redskins have not been really worth a flip lately, but it's still Redskins Cowboys, and you love to see that on Thanksgiving.
No, and look, I know Ron Rivera, new coach over there. I mean, he's no slouch. He's going to be able to turn that program around. If that program like it's a college program, he'll be able to turn that team around as well. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, we've seen so many great Thanksgiving games. I think one of the biggest ones that always comes to mind is whenever it was Dallas, Washington, RG3, his rookie season. By God, dude. And I was never a fan of RG3. I thought it was going to be a bust. Unfortunately, I was actually right, but I'm only right because he got injured, at the end of the day. But no, these two, they've been going at it for the longest time now. I have them winning this game. I mean, I had them actually winning both games against Washington. Just like I said, once again, man, that explosive offense. It's going to be very curious to see. You have Dak, you have Zeke. You have Amari Cooper. I think with CeeDee Lamb adding that in there along with Michael Gallup. I'm not sure how CeeDee Lamb's going to fit. Long term is going to be great, but the first couple of years will be very interesting to see what happens there with that.
And then very next week, I mean, you got another Thursday night game. You go from Thursday to Thursday, and they're going to be traveling to Baltimore. That's going to be a tough game going up there to take on the Ravens for Thursday night football. We saw what the Ravens had last year, so close to making that run to the Super Bowl. And then finally, week 15, Sunday night football again on KJAC, NBC, taking on the 49ers. And, I mean, those are 2 big-time ball games there. When the schedule was being released and seeing the team's records, the Cowboys were going up against the 3rd weakest schedule out of everyone in the league. But the team – it's kind of misleading because there's some really bad teams on that schedule, but you also got – you've got the Ravens, you got the Niners, the Cardinals are going to be better. Divisional games. I don't really buy a lot into weakest schedule, strongest schedule when it comes to NFL teams.
No, I mean, if you look at that final 6 weeks, all right, so you got Washington, Thanksgiving, Baltimore. I had them losing. Once again, they do not do well against running quarterbacks. I think Lamar Jackson is going to eat them up. Like, I will not be shocked if they at least win by 4. If Baltimore at least wins by 14. Then they head over to Cincinnati. That should be an easy victory against Joe Burrow and company. I do not have them beating Jimmy G against San Francisco. They will lose that Sunday night game there. It's going to be tough because it's going to be between them and Philadelphia for the division. And then week 16 they're going over. They're going to be at home at Philly. Which once again, that should be a split. I know you said they'll probably win that. I have them actually losing that one there, but at this point, it doesn't really matter because we have them splitting. So,
right. And then with that, we have to move on to Daniel Brown, our news director's New Orleans Saints.
Oh man, the Saints.
And that's page 2. See, he doesn't get to be on the page with the Texans and the Cowboys. Back page here of Saints.
As it should be.
They've got some big-time games in. Right off the bat, here you go, week 1 at home in the Superdome against Tom Terrific and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 3:25 kickoff, really surprising. You would think that would be a Sunday night football matchup.
You would think, you have Drew Brees, which is probably going to be more than likely maybe be his last season, last Super Bowl run, and they have the team to actually do it. But then you have Tom Brady. Of course, we all know his accolades. I think the most intriguing thing is because for so many years, everybody has wanted to see, well, what would Tom Brady do, if he was on another team? He wouldn't be the same. It's hard to judge now. I mean, the guy's 40-plus years old, but they got him some protection now over there in Tampa Bay. He's got the offensive weapons over there with Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, who is still yet to kind of come around. But if anybody can take him to the next level, it's definitely Tom Brady. But you're right. But once again, do you have Rams Cowboys new stadium numbers there, or do you have Tom Brady versus Drew Brees, which it's still going to draw. I mean, for that 3:00 game, it's everybody's going to be watching that just to see how there. But I think you're right. I mean, I think the more intriguing matchup would definitely be Tampa Bay, New Orleans.
Yeah, but the NFL has had this promise to LA since they were, bringing the Rams to LA, hyping up that stadium, and they probably originally were thinking, they're going to be week one no matter what. They're going to be week one against the Cowboys to bring in that national attention that the Cowboys bring, love them or hate them. They do get the ratings. But then all of a sudden, off-season moves, and you got Buccaneers Saints, and you're like, wow, that could be a big one. But by then, it's already been decided. It was going to be Rams and Cowboys.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, more than likely that, SoFi Stadium is probably going to be better than Jerry World overall. Mm-hmm. And that's okay as a fan. I'm okay with that. However, every Sunday night football game, Monday night football game, Thursday, they all, especially when it's in Arlington, all they talk about is that stadium. They still act like it's brand spanking new. So so with SoFi, they're going to do the exact same thing. And I get it. They want to show off the stadium. But here's a problem right now. We're in a pandemic. There's we're not going to be able to go over there and travel, which I'm sure one day we would love to all go see.
Yeah.
But there's also another little stadium over there in Las Vegas, which they're going to be going to the following week.
That's right. How about that? Week 2 Saints traveling to Las Vegas. And when you just think of Sin City and then you think of Bourbon Street, I mean, that should be some sort of rivalry. They're in different conferences, but I mean, Las Vegas versus New Orleans on the road, week 2. That's Monday Night Football, 7:15 kickoff. And one thing that they talked about is they're trying to make Monday Night Football more exciting. They're trying to get better matchups than they have in recent years because growing up, Monday Night Football was everything. Even when I was working at Channel 12, which shows I've been working there since the 90s, we had Monday Night Football, and we'd be working late. But, I mean, people would just go nuts for a Monday Night Football game, and the NFL's trying to get that back again. Week 3, how about that? If you're the Saints, you got Tampa Bay. Then you go to the Raiders and the hoopla of that new stadium out there. Then you have a Sunday night game the following week, and you got Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers coming to town. And remember, when the NFL put out their all-decade team here recently, Tom Brady got on that team. Aaron Rodgers got on that team. Drew Brees didn't get on that team. And now you got Brees.
Which still baffles me.
Yeah, it's still crazy to me.
And here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers, even though he's probably going to be out in the next year or two,
right.
they'll find a way to get it done. I mean, I have them losing this game against Green Bay, but that's the thing. If you take a look at this, even as a whole, just in terms of just quarterbacks, right? It's going to be a lot of shootouts, right? You got Aaron Rodgers, you got Brady twice, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Matthew Stafford, among others. There's going to be a lot of shootouts there with these Saints games.
Yep. We'll try to speed along here because guess what? Zoom has a time limit, so we're going to try to talk about.
Oh, there's a time limit.
Time limit. That's right. We're not paying for the premium contract. We love X's and O's, but I'm not going to do that. Can't do it.
Yeah. Not now, guys.
Not now. These are tough times. After they take on the Packers there on Sunday, week 5, they got another Monday night game, LA Chargers, and the Chargers are coming to town in those beautiful new uniforms, by the way, they're wearing. There's a lot of hoopla around the Rams.
The best in the game.
But the Chargers, they look sweet. Then you got Sunday Night Football, week 9, November 8th. They go to Tampa Bay, taking on the Buccaneers. Tom Terrific again, divisional game. How fun is that? You're going to get to see Tom Brady against Drew Brees twice a year. But at the same time, it still kind of feels like Montana playing for the Chiefs. quarterbacks where you're not used to seeing them. And you got to wonder how much Brady is going to have an impact with the Buccaneers.
As long as Tom Brady can stay healthy, because, I mean, they're doing everything they can to protect him, as they should. Man, those are going to be some exciting games. As like I said, as long as Brady can stay healthy, there's going to be a lot going on there, and it's going to be a shootout. Because if you look over, on the New Orleans side of things, you have Kamara, Emmanuel Sanders is now there to tag along with Michael Thomas. So much firepower, and then you got this little guy Tatum Hill over there, right? Mm-hmm. You never know. He's the wild card over there.
And then finally, their Christmas present. A home game against the Minnesota Vikings, and the Saints and Vikings.
Purple Rain.
They've started to have a little bad blood against each other recently, and going to New Orleans for Christmas. I mean, it's going to be a rough day for Minnesota.
It should, but I have them losing. I have them dropping that one, though.
Not a lot of faith in the Saints, huh?
No, I mean, look, I have the Saints going 10-7. No, not 10-7. I'm sorry about that. 10-6. 10-6. I have
10-6. Okay.
So, because, I mean, it looks kind of rough at first, but those final, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the last stretch was those last 7 weeks there. I mean, Atlanta, Denver, Atlanta, Philadelphia, 4 straight wins. I think they're going to rattle off
easily. Yeah.
They're not going to beat Kansas City. And then, like I said, I think they'll drop it to Minnesota. They should get by.
You say
Carolina,
they're not going to.
Yeah, I like the.
Say they're not going to beat Kansas City. I've seen Kansas City in the regular season do some weird things, like the Texans beat them up there. Okay, so
which was bizarre in itself.
Just saying. I was in Houston for the World Series watching that game in the tunnel, and I was stunned. Couldn't believe it, but I was happy. So we had that.
Leave it to your Texans. Leave it to them to blow a big lead like that later on too.
We hang banners.
We won't get into
hanging banners in the regular season, but we hang banners for the division.
You'd be like the Colts and just hang banners for every little thing. So
AFC finalist, go Colts.
Yeah, which is still bizarre in itself. I've never seen that. Then again, UCF believes they're the national champions. So.
They do. Our Troy Kless used to work at Channel 12. He actually has the hat that says national champs, which that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother embarrassing thing. So the main thing is we're getting excited to at least have football to talk about. I hope they get all these games in. I really do. If you got to wipe out the preseason, but get these games going.
I think so. And as long as, there's talk of Major League Baseball come back in July. If Major League Baseball can come back, right, that's step one, right? And then if we can get the NBA, I don't care if fans or no fans, right? I don't think it doesn't matter. You talked about the other day on social media about national polls or whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
We're all thirsty. I mean, we all saw the ratings for the draft. Everybody was watching that. Everybody got it. Dude, we're watching Korean baseball the other day. Dude, what do we know about Korean baseball? Not much. Go Dinos.
I know I'm a Kia Tigers fan, and they've had a rough start. And
Samsung, man.
Got to turn it around. Samsung Lions, they're tough. You got to look out for them. And also, starting tomorrow, or it could be today, it's the other side of the world. I'm flip-flopping. But in Taiwan, the Taiwan Baseball League is going to start letting fans in today, or it's already happened, up to 1,000 fans into the stadium. So, seeing these kind of things happen are all signs that we're walking back in the right direction. It's scary. We understand, but man, I'm ready for some sports to get back and going again.
So let me ask you this. Is it just a straight 1,000 fans and then that's not including everybody else? Or is it, hey, we're only allowing 1,000 people in here?
The release only said 1,000 and then it was in Korean after that. I don't know. I mean, not
use Google Translate.
Taiwan. Sorry, wrong country. Chinese. My bad. But well, yeah, because originally talk about the whole Chinese Taiwan thing. That's a very sticky subject. So when the CPBL was going, I was like, hey, I got to pick me a Chinese baseball team, and immediately Taiwan people are on Twitter like Taiwan, and I was like, my bad. I just read the name of the league, had no clue about it. No offense. So.
Yeah, some people, man, it's people live their lives to either troll on social media or correct you, right?
I will say that 11 Sports in Taiwan started following me on Twitter just because I watched games, I guess. I don't know. So, thank you, 11 Sports, for the support. I appreciate that.
You have a fan for life now.
Yes, right.
Yeah, I've been retweeting a lot of their stuff. It's a pretty entertaining social media account.
It really is, and that's without fans in the stands. If you ever seen baseball in Asia, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's wild. It's a party. It's weird stuff going on everywhere.
Cardboard cutouts.
Yes,
Weird is I think that's it. Weird. That sums it all up. But it's a
yeah,
cool weird though. It's an interesting weird. It's
yeah.
like Austin weird.
The
So.
Uni Lions, one of the teams, not the Uni Lions. It's another one of the teams playing. No, it is the Uni Lions. I think over in Taiwan, they have a lion mascot dancing, and then there's like a fish head. It's literally a chopped off fish head dancing, but they're both wearing their mask because coronavirus.
What, of course they are. Of course they got the mask on.
It's a chopped off fish head dancing, but he's got his mask on. I don't know, but
How is that chopped off fish head dancing?
I don't. It's Taiwan.
I mean, I know we're supposed to suspend belief, but still, that doesn't make sense. Then again, the Fast and the Furious franchise doesn't make sense either. So all this stuff.
Let's not get going there, and it doesn't make any sense that there's no assistant coaches at the end of Varsity Blues. But we could go on and on about that. But let's wrap this up because Zoom, as we said, has a time limit, and before we have to pay premium, I'm going to say goodbye. Hopefully we see you real soon for 409 Sports X's and O's. Hopefully we're back in studio and we can have some guests.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Ash.
All right. Until next time, whenever that is, it's 409 Sports X's and O's.